Hello, and today we're talking about the substance of the astral and physical realms. In the last part, when we talked about yin and yang, Joe made the comment of, or likened exhaling and inhaling to people flickering on and off, which is a fairly, if you haven't heard the other pod, abstruse remark to get your head around. But it's interesting in relation to this thing of vibration and revolution and refinement of energy. And there's a lot known or researched about the astral plane, which is the plane next door but one to us, because we have the physical and then we have the physioetheric and then we have the astral. And in people used to, or probably still do, go in for astral travel or remote viewing or whatever, all of which happens from the astral bodies or body. But I think it's important to remember that the astral plane is still part of the physical universe. It is not separate from the physical universe. It is the subtler, probably the most subtle counterpart of the physical, and therefore we're still linked to it. And so, for instance, when we were asleep, when we are unconscious, when we're in perhaps just deeper than alpha, but is it theta deeper than alpha? I think it is. We are then on the astral, and the thing that separates us from the permanent residence of sometimes on the astral is that we come back into physical body while we still have incarnation. When we leave our body, when our incarnation is over, then the first landing stage is the astral. Just how long, the consciousness is in the astral body. Now, just how long we stay there, it varies in argument. But that astral is something that gets visited by sleepers, by people who are dreaming, by psychics, by people who are meditating. And so the astral is that very subtle counterpart of the physical. And what the differentiation is, it can be measured by the way we're vibrating. So when we are unconscious, our brainwave pattern alters, our vibratory force alters, and that astral connection that we have is the thing that really is not, it's not layered like a cake in the way sometimes we imagine it to be. It kind of pulsates in and out, in and out. So this flickering on and off comment, because I said in the pod on yin and yang that when people breathe between words in speech, between sentences in their speech, their body language is very obvious in that when we're breathing in, we are perhaps in a more defensive and preparatory frame of being. When we're breathing out, we're kind of relaxing. We're kind of relaxing and accepting. And Joe then said he thought of it as people flickering on and off, almost like energetic forces. And that's right, isn't it, Joe?
In and out of existence.
In and out of existence.
On the physical realm.
Exactly. And this in and out of existence on the physical realm is something that can only take place because there is a subtler counterpart. Now, whether you call this the astral or whatever you want to call it, this subtle counterpart is really, really important. It's important because without it, there is no grasping the significance of things like meditation, of an afterlife, or even a before life. There's no, in order to get our head around the metaphysical system, we have to understand that these subplanes, or these higher planes than the physical, beginning with the astral probably, are really absolutely integral to why we exist here. So the astral is subtle and the physical is dense. The physical is the densest realm in that, and why this is so is because everything is slowed, and everything, atoms, permanent atoms, semi-permanent atoms, are vibrating at their lowest level in the physical realm. But those same atoms are capable of manifestation in the astral realm at a higher revolution. And so it's always a thinning, it's a refining of the same energy. So the astral realm, of course, being the container, if you like, for all emotional, which it is known as the emotional realm, because every emotional thought that's ever been had by anybody is on the astral. It's contained within the astral, it's a refined. It's like taking a food and refining it and then saying this is a whole food rather than a processed food. So the astral is a very real mechanism and it's the first stage after physical death. It said there are two deaths. The first death is of the physical, and then we reside in the astral, where we study or ingest all the emotional stuff that we've been through. Then there is the death in the astral into the mental consciousness, or the lower mental and then the higher mental. And these are the tenets of wisdom within the esoteric laws, if you like. But the astral is a question of speed. It's a question of revolution. Motion is a better word than speed, isn't it, Joe?
Motion is everything. Everything's in motion.
Yeah, as we're fond of saying, we live in an ocean of motion. So yeah, and we did a whole pod on motion further back, but we thought we wanted to expand this idea of motion being responsible for various states of mind or states of being within the human condition, yeah? Because when people, as we say, are breathing in certain ways, as in meditation or yoga, they are not wholly focused or existing on the physical. They are existing somewhere else. And if we can master this transcension to somewhere else, to other planes of being, or other vortices of energy, then really we have ultimate control over what we understand and how we evolve.
Holding thought, I think, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a good holding thought.
I think this is what I was saying about regenerating when you're breathing in and out.
Yes.
When you hold a thought without distraction.
Oh, holding thought. THOUGHT. Yeah. I thought you meant holding a fort, like in a fortress. Holding thought.
Holding a thought, a single thought. If you wanted to heal yourself, then you hold a thought of healing while breathing. And each passing breath pulls in that energy. That's
right. Well, that's why we did that exercise in yin yang of the breathing thing. Breathing and energy and life are all so interconnected that it's not true. And what they underpin is motion.
Yeah.
Energetic motion. And this is why some people can heal themselves very, very quickly.
Yes.
And this, in essence, is what the Christian scientists were getting at. I mean, they're still in existence, the Christian scientists. There are certain other religions that do, not many, I don't think, that believe in, literally the ability to, the body as a science, as a mechanism, and not just, and having responsibility for it and control over it. They're one of the few that I know of. And their journals report fantastic, miraculous things happening, which is actually the essence of what something like Christianity teaches, if you think about it. Miracles.
This is what people have got to learn to master, is having a thought and then holding it without being distracted by what's happened yesterday, what happened the day before, what happened last year. What state they're in, what pressures they're getting at.
Yeah. Yeah, and also within this question of the astral, what I want to very much say here is the lower. We used to talk about the astral, the lower astral. Now, the lower astral is where the most negative, horrendous thoughts and actions and things are deposited, like a horrible waste dump for atrocity or for evil or whatever you want to say. The lack of light. Certain things taking place now in our physical realm at one time would have not taken place in the physical, or we would not have been witness to it, because it would have had to take place at the lower astral. But the sheath between the veil between the realms is thought to be thinning. So the lower astral will pulsate upwards and deposit shit and crap in the way of events into the physical realm. And to move ourselves away from the contamination of that, it's necessary to heighten our own vibration. Not to say, oh, that doesn't exist, or it does exist, but it doesn't need to actually contaminate or harm us. Because if we know that these realms, these dimensions are made of energy and movement and subtlety and grossness, or density and refinement, then we can align our own energies with that refinement. And it's our choice to think how we will, or to have negative state, or to have positive state. And the positive state, we don't think ourselves into a positive state. We literally breathe and in a way evolve ourselves into a positive state. We can do it within minutes if we want. And the ultimate positive state we're aiming for probably happens over lifetimes. But it's a question of motion, it's a question of breath. It's a question of understanding the realms. And when people talk about the astral and they talk about the subtle realms, there's this danger of thinking, oh, it's something over there, like the Sahara Desert. Or it isn't, it's here now. It's with us now, it's impinging upon us. It's why some people are mediumistic and talk to people who've passed or have died, if you like. And why psychics work, and everybody has experience of telepathy or deja vu or whatever. And this is all to do with the subtlety of the realms.
Foresight, I think. People who have foresight.
Yes.
Can see things coming and
yes.
know what to do, prepare properly.
Well, yes. I mean, the Akashic records are possibly housed on the astral. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't like to get into that argument. The Akashic records, which is what psychics fathom, or people with vision, having vision or whatever, can go into the Akashic and look backwards and forwards.
That's having
sorry?
I was going to say that's having a certain state of mind.
It's having a certain state of mind. It is. Yeah. If somebody becomes quite psychic, they don't just arrive that way overnight. It can happen, but it's usually because they have trained. If you're untrained and you're psychic, you will suffer. You've got to train your vessel to be able to withstand a massive fusion or influx of energy that will come your way from other thought form on other realms, and you have to be able to master the going in and out of these realms within yourself. It's not something you can learn about or take on as a manual. You have to kind of grow into it or evolve into it. But the understanding of the subtlety of how we live and where we live and how we change and those states of being is what changes the material world about us, because as we refine, our material world should get better, and if it's not, then we're not refining. We're remaining at a very dense, negative, low level around the base chakra and the sacral centre, and we're kind of locked down into there, into the things that are conducive to the flesh only, rather than
we're stuck in the third chakra.
Yeah, well, not everybody. We don't have to be, but...
Well, this is why the world is pretty much thinking about the way it does. It's all very celebrity-based or very external-based.
People are fighting for guidance and a way to be, and that way to be is not going to be found from anything outside. Certainly, there is a way to go, perhaps, but for a short time by looking outside. But ultimately, you have to come in and measure what you've seen outside with what you know to be your own truth inwardly, and even that is an exploration into the astral or into the subtler realms.
Oh yeah, but
the minute you withdraw from the physical, you are consciously make an effort to withdraw from the physical. You're actually accessing the subtler realms. But when people die, this is why, and this question of what people see, and as to apparitions or ghosts or whatever they might see, and things that are not of this time, these are things photographed in an astral sense, which is still part of the physical world. It's still part of that physical plane. That physical plane doesn't just end like going to the cliff, going to the edge of a cliff, and then suddenly there's an abyss. It kind of just peters and peters and peters out and refines and goes somewhere else. And this is what we do and this is why we can't kill energy. Energy can't die. Energy transmutes or transforms all the time, but it can't be killed. The minute physics said, no, we can't kill energy, energy can't be killed, mankind made a tremendous breakthrough in understanding of how ephemeral and just how eternal we are at source. And that source is spirit, really. Do you not think we need a better word to describe it than spirit at some level? And is there going to be such a word?
I think we're not at that point yet.
No, I think I tend to agree with you.
I think that in this current state that we all live in, a lot of knowledge would be very dangerous for us.
Yeah. But I think that people are at different stages of understanding within their knowledge. And it's like, people can talk, and like-minded people get together and they talk and they understand each other, and they don't have to go into massive explanation. And if you talk with people who are not on your wavelength, it's like, well, you might as well be talking a different language.
Oh yeah, but to get to that point, you have to go through a certain education. So,
education in what sense?
Well,
you don't mean schooling.
No. I mean school or anything.
You mean
understanding?
Experience, really?
Well, no, it's just understanding.
Well, doesn't understanding come from experience?
If you do research on these sort of subjects and you talk to people about it,
yes,
you essentially become that energy.
You do, and there's more and more information out there now. Since the digital age, people don't need to leave their town or their country to find information. They can get it from the internet, and they can get it from wherever. And there are people having connection and interrelation. Oh, they'll never meet in the physical realm, but once you connect with somebody, I mean, it's interesting to think of what the internet is in terms of a realm. It actually will have I think, a realm of its own soon that will have a descriptive term, Because, of course, what goes onto the internet is recorded and doesn't actually ever die.
It's called remote viewing, I think.
What is?
Sharing other people's thoughts that you've never met, never seen. You can actually remote view and connect with other people. It's a form of healing as well. You can do that.
I don't think that's remote viewing, is it? I think remote viewing is actually looking at something
it's
physical.
Remote viewing
It's an aspect. Okay, yeah.
I think what people don't understand is there's a field around us all that's non-local.
Yes.
Which is pretty much everywhere at the same time.
Yeah.
And once you can connect with this, then you can just travel the whole universe.
Yeah.
Psychological.
You mean the physical universe?
Oh yeah. That you can. It's not physical because you're not using your physical body.
But you can travel the whole of the physical universe. That's remote viewing.
Well, you connect into a local, what is known as its local field. It's not a physical not a spaceship or anything like that, it's a thought process.
No, I know that. But what then are you looking at if you're doing that?
Well, you don't look at anything, you just become part of it, and then you can go anywhere you wish. There's a guy, I can't remember his name now, but he's saying there's people in dimensions where I myself exist many, many, many times.
Yeah.
And I can practice going visiting my other self
yeah.
and learning what he has learned.
Well, there's a whole thing now called quantum jumping, and it's part of Mind Valley, and they talk about that, meeting alternate.
Yeah, it's very similar to that actually. I think that is the same kind of thing.
Yeah, where they meet alternate versions of themselves, and therefore they advance, and an alternate version of yourself teaches you something that you don't already know. Yes. Yeah. And all this can only happen because there is a subtle counterpart to Earth. So whatever you're going to call that subtle counterpart to Earth, its known name at the moment is the Astral, but and then there are levels above that which are not necessarily just to do with the physical Earth. But whilst that is in existence, whilst we know that is in existence, there is the greatest and greatest hope. And without the knowledge of that, there is almost no hope. So and that's something you can explain it to people, but they have to kind of experience it or resonate to it in their own way or understand it in their own way. And that's why we've been talking about it. So thank you very much for joining us. Join us next time on The Electric Universe.